So today's topic is about the art of allowing. This is something that I got from Mornings with Nano. So it's not me telling you this, it's me passing on a message that I learned from obviously someone who's already achieved this success level that we're all striving towards. Um, so basically understanding this concept will get you into that vibration that you need to be in order to, like attract what you want into your life. So it's called the art of allowing, and it basically means that you're no longer resisting the things that are like in your way. So you're no longer resisting things that you were put on this earth to live. Like you're no longer resisting like abundance. You're no longer resisting freedom, prosperity, all of these types of things, right? And in order for us to understand um, the art of allowing, we actually have to understand that these things flow through us. So we have to live in a state of abundance. We have to live in a state of like gratitude at all times in order to have open hands to what is being given to us. Because we might be in a position that we might be so close to like where we actually want to be, but because we're resisting it, because our hands aren't open to it, and we're not accepting it into the physical world, we're actually not allowing it in. So that might be why you haven't reached the next level yet. And to attract more into your life, you have to allow more into your life. You know, people lack this like allowance, because when your thoughts are not on the same vibrational level, like we went through in the first week, when you're not feeling good, you're not going to be like emitting the same energy. You're not going to be feeling as good. So you're not going to be, like attracting what you want into your life, because you're not going to be on the same frequency as it. So when you are, when you're feeling good, like when you think about your goals and you feel good, like we mentioned before, that means that you are thinking about your goals properly. Because when you're thinking about we don't have, and the lack of what, when you're focusing on the lack of it, you're actually focusing on what you don't want. So then when you focus on what you don't want, you're actually attracting what you don't want into your life. So it's kind of related to this as well. Because if you're thinking about what you do want, you are effectively allowing that into your life through the law of vibration, through the law of attraction as well. So if you're giving your attention to like what you're lacking, you're focusing on the absence of success. And then you will feel bad, you'll feel angry, you'll feel insecure, you feel worried, all of these negative emotions. So when you're in a state of resistance, you are going to know, because you'll feel bad. I'll just get the whiteboard up, see if I can draw a little diagram for you guys. Alright, let me draw this. So basically this is you. I'm going to draw like a little stick man. Yeah, quality. So yeah, you have this kind of barrier over you, and this is the resistance, right? And when the things that you want are trying to get to you, they're there, but your resistance is deflecting them. So these might be like, maybe a skill set to get you to the next rank, or maybe just limiting beliefs. But as long as your resistance is there, yeah, that's what your resistance could be. It could be like your limiting beliefs. It can be like anything stopping you from going to the next level, really. Even if that can just be like some chart work, But when you have this resistance, it is deflecting everything coming to you, like I just said. So you can't effectively allow the things that you want to reach you, because the resistance is blocking it all, right? So you need to remember that your feelings are your attraction point. So this is, again, like I said earlier, when you're feeling good, you're going to be attracting good things. And when you're feeling bad, you're going to be attracting bad things, you know? So how have you actually been feeling recently, and has it been reflected in what you've been allowing into your life? And this goes for like what you're accepting and rejecting into like your subconscious mind as well. It's not just about physical, this is also especially about spiritual side, right? So what have you actually been allowing into your life? You know, what have you been allowing?
Let's go downstairs. Stay here, yeah?
So yeah, being in a state of resistance will not allow you to accomplish your goal because, you know, as I said, it's like a barrier. It's deflecting all the good things that are coming towards you. So in order to like live the life of abundance, to live the life of like greatness that you want to live, you have to actually allow that state to flow through you. Put one in the chat if you know about the law of transmutation. Okay, I'll just explain that. So the law of transmutation actually states that energy moves in and out of physical form. So we have this energy flowing through us, and we actually choose what we put back out into the universe. So through our thoughts, we actually have the creative energy that is flowing through us. So through our thoughts, we are actually creating the energy that we're putting out into the universe. So like I said earlier, if you're putting out good energy, if you're thinking positively, if you're in the right mindset that you need to be, you're going to be putting out like way more positive energy, and that's going to be returned to you. Whereas if you're focused on the lack, therefore not focused on your goals and focusing on the negatives, that is also what you're going to be putting out into the universe. And that is also what's going to, you know, come back to you. So be aware constantly of what you're actually feeling and your vibrational state. Because you can tell if you're giving attention to your desire or the absence of your desire through the way you feel. So like I keep saying, guys, if you feel good, then you're paying attention to what you want. It's so important, right? When you focus on what you want, you're gonna feel good because like you know that you can achieve it. You believe that you can achieve it. You believe it's already yours. And if you don't believe that it's already yours and you can achieve it, then you're focusing on the lack, which isn't even focusing on it in the first place. So when you focus on your goal, you feel good because you know you can achieve it. You know it's already done. Therefore, you are putting yourself in a higher vibration. And when you do this, you have to stay on this vibration in order to get the end result. One sec. So yeah, let me just draw something else. This part that I'm about to show you is something that actually blew my mind. Everything made sense now. So let's use this one. So this is, let's say you started up here. So this was your first, you know, like high moment when you were vibrating high and you felt good because you're focusing on your goal, right? Let's say your goal is here, let's use G. But then what happens is something happened in your environment, let's say, and then your vibration dropped. And then this is where you reach the low. Now, what happens here is two things, right? Just change color. So you can either, if you know how to handle the lows and you take into account everything that I'm telling you here, and you understand the laws of the universe, you understand how this thing works, you understand there's going to be ups and downs throughout your journey, right? You can bounce back even higher. But most people, they don't know how to handle the lows. So what they end up doing is this. They get high moment, they get high vibration for maybe a couple of days, but then what happens? They come back down to the low. Same thing happens again. They come back down to the low, and then they're staying within this range. So put a 1 in the chat, right? Actually, put a 2 in the chat. If you have ever felt like you've been stuck within this range of, feeling good for a couple of days and then feeling bad again after a couple of days. Okay, yeah, because I know I definitely have that too. So what we actually need to do is understand how to handle the lows so that we can actually get out of this cycle. Because if I undo this, we actually have to maintain our vibration. Once we get it high, we have to keep it until we reach our goal. And that's the hard part. The hard part isn't getting it. The hard part is keeping it in that state. The hard part is staying in that constant vibration, staying in that, like protective field where you're blocking out all of the negative energy so you can maintain that high vibration long enough for you to reach your goal. The things that are the low, let me just draw it out again. Let's use red. So let's say you come out to low. So the things that are the low, this is where you're gonna have bad feelings, negative things, maybe like you've got a challenge affecting me. We're all going through something at the end of the day. But what we have to know how to do is actually how to handle being at this low so that we can actually get back into feeling good. Because when we're feeling good, we're actually attracting what we want. So this is something that it made a lot of sense for me. I don't know if I explained it in what's the word? Well enough, but yeah. So essentially, when you are going up and down, staying in the same range, you're not giving out the right signals because it's technically you don't know what you want still. Because you can say you want something, but when you focus on it for a couple of days, that's fine. But then when you come back down to a lower vibration and you're focusing on what you don't have, then you're not focusing on your goal anymore. So you're focusing on the lack of it. So now, after you have put out the vibration of what you want, you're now putting out the vibration of what you don't want. So obviously you're not going to get what you want because you're contradicting yourself over and over again for as long as you stay within this range. You're giving mixed signals to the universe and you can't actually accomplish what you've been asking for. So this is something very, very key that you need to keep in mind. Keep in mind, are you within this range? And do you know how to handle lows? Let's just see. Put a 3 in the chat if you know how to handle being at a low point and know how to get out of a negative vibration. Because if you don't, I can actually explain that. So yeah, put a 3 in the chat if you don't know what to do when you're in a bad vibration. Okay, cool. So basically, when you are in a low vibration, so yeah, when you're feeling these negative feelings, when you're feeling this, the outside circumstances are kind of taking their toll, you have to remember to take note of how you're feeling and try to rewire the way you're thinking. Because when you're at a high point, when you're doing well, it's easy to think positively. It's easy to think, this is going well. But you have to what you have to do when you actually get to the low is maintain the same feeling that you had at the highs throughout the lows, throughout everything, no matter how hard it gets, right? Because by doing that, that will actually keep your vibration constant, even if, like, you know, you're going through a low. So instead of being in the range of instead of being in that range of, you know, thinking about what you want, not thinking about what you want, and so on and so on, you're constantly thinking about what you want, and you're constantly focused on that until you get to your goal, even if you're having a bad day, but you keep it in mind and you keep thinking about it in the same way that you would if it was going well. Put some ones in the chat if that made sense, or if you need me to explain it a bit better. Okay, cool. So yeah, your attitude actually determines your attitude during the lows actually determines how high you are actually going to go. So yeah, like I just said, if you keep that same mentality that you would through the highs, through the lows, then that's what's going to help you get out of like the rut. Yeah, when people tend to quit, it's usually because they can't reach another high because they're stuck in that low point. Because yeah, they don't know how to handle the lows. But there can't be a change of attitude when you're trying to accomplish the things you want. So yeah, that's the kind of what I was saying, where you have to maintain the same attitude, you have to maintain the same work ethic, you have to maintain the same, you know, consistency, thoughts, even if it might not seem like it's going your way. Because everything you've ever wanted or desired, whether spoken or unspoken, has been transmitted vibrationally, right? So what were you thinking about during your challenges? Have you noticed that whenever you're going through a hard time, if you actually look back on it, you kind of realize that you brought that into your life. Like you were on that same vibrational level as what you attracted. Because previously to the challenge, you haven't been thinking in the right way. You haven't been aware enough of thoughts that you're having, which then take you into this, like, you know, unfortunate situation. So how are you actually talking to yourself on a day-to-day basis? You know, your desires and your beliefs are just thoughts. So what you are technically asking for is what you're focusing your attention on. So when you want to, you know, achieve a goal or a certain thing in your life, if you're not focused on it, then you're not asking for it. If you're focused on the lack of it, you're asking for the lack of it, you know? And whether you desire it to happen or not, you're still asking for it. So even if you don't intentionally want to bring about a negative situation, if your thoughts are continuously focusing on the negatives, then you're going to attract the negatives. So you need to really, really actually understand what is going on with your thoughts. Like, how are you actually feeling on a day-to-day basis, and how is that actually reflected in the life that you're actually living on a day-to-day basis, right? Because you don't even have to speak it out loud. As long as you think it, you're still asking for what you're thinking about. So you have to really kind of what's the word, like, manage your thoughts a lot. And this is when you have to, like, kind of what's the word, I can't think of words today. Like, you have to really become more aware of what is affecting you, like maybe certain circumstances, being in a certain environment, you know, certain things people might say. How is that actually affecting you and your thought process, you know? And focus on what you want all the time. So yeah, it's kind of a shorter one today. But yeah, focus on what you want, therefore you will attract what you want. Focus on what you don't want and the lack of it and doubts and everything like that, then you will attract that. So yeah, that is essentially today's training. Claudia is actually at work today. Don't know if you want to say a little bit, if you can. Don't know if you can. But yeah, thanks for jumping on, guys. And that's the end of today's session.